Hello all, this is Dr. Dave Maslach talking to you about reciprocity.com. The E is written with a 3, and in this particular video I want to talk to you about what is the best thing about doing your PhD or your doctorate. So if you don't know me, I am an associate professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship, and I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There's so many people that helped me out to get through graduate school that I want to pay the favor forward and help you out as much as I possibly can. All right, so a few weeks ago, I polled my little YouTube community. It's kind of tiny at this moment, but thank you if you're following along. It's awesome that you're part of this. It's really cool. And I asked them one question, and what is the best thing about doing a PhD? And I asked them I had a couple of items and stuff like that for them to answer. A lot of people answered autonomy. The majority of the people actually answered autonomy. This is where you have freedom to do the things that you want to do, so you can perform any particular action. Personally, I don't feel that way, and I'm going to get into that in a minute. But there was a couple of other ones that I think are a little bit more prominent. But some other people answered that it was the struggle. I think that's a really important thing. The other thing that other people answered was eureka moments. That's an important thing. And then only a small fraction answered that they wanted to be around like-minded people. And you can go and answer on that survey as well. It's just going to the communities tab, and you can fill it out and see if we can get more people. But here's the thing that I wanted you to think about. So first of all, autonomy, it's not necessarily that there is a lot of autonomy when you do your doctorate. There's a lot of different benefits with doing your doctorate. A couple of them that are probably not as much as you think they are. Financial resources, it's decent, but there are other opportunities that you can get that are probably going to make you more money, like going into industry, for example. Generally, most PhDs are going to make more money if they go into industry than stay in academia. It's just kind of the general rule across the board. Doesn't matter really what discipline that you're in. It's just that you're paying a premium to stay in sort of a research position in academia. Other things, being around like-minded people, you get to be around amazing, interesting people on a regular basis that are very goal-directed. That's a really fun thing. I think it's really cool. Another thing that I think is probably the most important things, or the two most important things, are actually the struggle. So this is, there goes a dump truck. The struggle is, where you build something yourself, and you're constantly sort of pursuing that thing and going after something that is really difficult, that's challenging, and not a lot of people can do it. Or people can say that they can do it, or they'll believe that they can do it, but when they actually go to do it, it's a lot more difficult than what everybody thinks it is, because it requires a lot of dedication and commitment every single day, and that's going to keep going for a long time. And that's why it's really, I think the struggle is an exciting thing, because you're working at something and you're building slowly over time, right? It's like building any particular entrepreneurial venture. You just like to sort of build things and put it together, and if you like that kind of stuff, to me, that's an important, most important concept, or most important thing. The other thing that's really important for you to consider is the eureka moment. So that's where the struggle is so important, where maybe you might spend a year struggling at something and trying to solve a problem and you can't get it. But then all of a sudden you have this sort of experience, and it does happen, where you're sitting in the shower and you just have this like epiphany, and you're like, well, crap, why didn't I think of that? And then you have to sort of change everything. And then in that specific moment, in that day that you have, you feel extremely euphoric. You feel like, that you can tackle the world. You feel all these different emotions because of the struggle that you've been down for so long, and you've been sort of pushing at something, and all of a sudden you sort of get it, and everything sort of clears away, and you see where you should go. And now that eureka moment is pretty fleeting, because then you'll feel this amazing feeling, and then about a day later you realize how much work it's going to take to sort of rechange everything to get it to match where it should go. But that does happen, and I personally think that those are the most wonderful sort of things of doing a PhD, and the best moments that you could do with doing a PhD is having those experiences, to know that you can do something that not a lot of people can do, and it's really challenging, and most people are going to give up. The vast majority of the people have already given up before they actually got there, and know that you can actually tackle it and keep going, and then have these sort of moments where you think of something completely different that nobody else has thought about and that you've been struggling with. That's a really cool thing that not a lot of people are going to experience, and that's a precious moment that most people are just not going to see, they're not going to be sort of part of. The autonomy thing, you can become you could become an entrepreneur or something along those lines, where you think that you have autonomy. But here's the check. Here's the sort of thing with autonomy. You don't necessarily have a lot of autonomy, because you have deadlines. You have to sort of tackle things that you should be tackling. You're accountable to a lot of other people, right? So if you don't publish, if you don't get things done, then you lose that autonomy. You start doing other things, right? So because the resources kind of disappear, right? Because they're betting on you. And so that autonomy is actually not as big as what most people think it is. Once you've started doing it, you realize that there isn't a lot of autonomy. So for example, if you're a prestigious professor, you've done very well. You've got a bunch of publications, everybody knows who you are. Well, all of a sudden you're accountable to both the administration, because people are paying you a lot of money, the university's paying you a lot of money, and they're wanting sort of results. But the other thing is that there's journals that you're accountable to, that you have to submit reviews for. There is PhD students that are constantly talking to you, and you're accountable to PhD students. Like, there is a lot of people that you're accountable to, and so that autonomy kind of disappears, right? So that's kind of a myth that I think most people don't really get until you're actually into it. You start realizing, you're not as autonomous as you think you are going forward, right? So it seems like it's going to be a completely different thing, but it's really not compared to other areas. And that's actually a good thing, right? Like, if you're not accountable, or if you're too autonomous and you're doing too many of your own things, well, it's that means that you're probably doing sort of things in obscurity, right? So that's something to keep in mind. So for me personally, the struggle, really important, really fun thing, and then as well as the eureka moments that you experience. So hopefully this answers your question, what is the best things about doing a PhD? And go on that sort of survey in the communities tab and check that out as well if you want to fill it out, if you are a PhD and you want to help out and show other people some more of this stuff. All right, take care and have a wonderful day. Bye. Oh, subscribe to the YouTube channel and give me a thumbs up. Bye.